everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Elune. Today we're gonna talk your ear off and do a little bit of new player guides and tips. We're gonna go through as many tips as I can in maybe 15 minutes, and I'm just gonna spew information onto you. I'm just gonna vomit all of my information into your head, and it's unorganized, but you've got to deal with it, and I'm sure you'll get a ton of wonderful tips from this. So we're just going to start off and just start banging things out and talking about them, because there's so much about this game. This video is meant for new players specifically, but also returning players, also mid-game players, anybody who's looking for little things that they might be missing here and there. So to start things off with, Elune is coming out with a Summoner's War collab tomorrow or today or whenever this video comes out, and I think it is a fantastic time to start the game, and I'm getting a lot of new players asking me about certain things around the game, which is why I ended up making this video. So number one thing people are going to ask for when they start this game is, what do I reroll for? And honestly, this is something that I'm not entirely sure right now, because I don't know what the rerolling process is like, but I can say I think rerolling is not really necessary. I think quantity in this game is much more important than quality. So I would just reroll a little bit, maybe get a couple legendaries in your starting, maybe a bunch of epics, and just go with quantity over quality, because you will in general get every unit in the game without fail over like the course of a little bit of playing. Especially as free to play, you get tons of opportunities. It's not worth spending too long on your starting rerolling. So to take a look at my Elunes here, just to talk about some specific ones, because maybe you want to hear that. We have Freya here is my starter healer. I wanted to start with her. I don't really use her too much. She's great, but she's not necessary by any means. We then have my trio of DPS, Arslan, Rev, and Baldur. Rev and Baldur were my early game ones, but Arslan, the lion dude, got buffed recently. He's insanely good. So if you start off with him, he's a really good farmer too. We also have Kang Rim here. We have Weiwei. We'll get to her in a little bit. We have the Mikazuki and the Fahrenheit, which are two of the most sought after rerolls at the start of the game. Two people I barely use too, and they're much more rare, but it really doesn't matter. You still get enough of them to use. And one of the most important ones, if you do reroll, I feel like I would try to get a Karu, just because she does something nobody else can really do, and she's really good at one of the current endgame options. So that's what I would go for personally. But overall, I would just go for absolute quantity over quality, because the more units, the better in this game, I feel, and it's what makes it fun for me. Speaking of specific epics, people ask me what epics to reroll for, and I say none. I don't think you should reroll for epics. I think epics are a fusion thing. I think they are quantity over quality again. There's one specific epic that I would consider promoting, and that would be Chloe Vaughn. She really helps out. She's great in literally everything in the game. She's insane damage, insane CC, insane everything. So she's the only one I would promote if you don't have one of her. Once you get to the later levels of the game, if you don't have a couple of the other ones, you might want to promote them. Examples being Karsha. Karsha is really great endgame right now, and I think she's worth a promotion too, but I don't think she's necessary or needed early game. And there's a ton of other units too. You can see my list here, and I use a lot of these. That's one of the other points I want to talk about, is the vast majority of characters in this game can be used in some way, and will probably be used in some way, specifically because the way World Boss rotates makes it so you want to bring different units basically every week. I love that about this game. As for rares, it's the exact same thing. I fodder away, I fusion all of my rares right now, except for one that I think is just absolutely amazing. That is Ahanis. I think she's one of the best units in the game, and I've fused a bunch of mine away that I wish I hadn't, and I will be promoting any 5-star Ahanis up to 6-star at this point, just because she's such an insane unit. She goes really well with a formation we'll talk about in a little bit. But she's the only rare I would really look out for. So this is one of the ones that I think is worth rares for keeping too. I don't think you need her at 6-star, but she's an easy way to clear one of the endgame dungeons right now, because she charms a unit and then they kill themselves. So this is the only other one I would really look at, to be entirely honest. The rest I would just super fuse. And speaking of fusions, The way fusion works, and this is the base of the game right now, is you combine 2 units of the same rarity and the same star level, and they promote to essentially the same rarity and 1 star level higher of a random unit of that rarity class. So if we look at rares right now, we don't have one to fuse to show you, but for example, if we had 2 4-star units, we would fuse them together, and we would have a 5-star unit, random rare unit from that. There's a chance it promotes into an epic instead of a rare. Very, very small chance, but it does happen a decent amount. I've never had epic promote to legendary though, so that's a myth. I swear that doesn't happen. And with fusion points here, you get a fusion point every time you do a fusion, and when you're at 45 of 45 points for rare fusion points, you're guaranteed to have it upgrade to an epic. So when you have 45 you want to promote or fuse 2 5-star rares together into a 6-star epic. And the same goes with other rarities as well. If we look at our epic fusion here, once we get to 60 out of 60, we want to combine 2 5-star epics into a 6-star legendary. So this is why it's worth leveling up and worth fusing like 1-stars and 2-star rares just to try to get that fusion points up. And speaking of leveling 1-star and 2-star rares, the way I do it is through the training list. Right now, I'm basically at literal 0 fodder, because I've been going so hard for this event, and I'm waiting for Summoner's War right now. So this is where I do that. The training unlocks at level 10 or 15 or something like that on your character, and you get 550k points per day when it's upgraded fully, and you just keep putting them up. They get passive XP as you do stages, and it's a ton of XP over time, and it's absolutely worth unlocking. One of the best things you can do early game. And speaking of grinding early game, the best unit in the game, I think, without question, is going to be Weiwei. And Weiwei is a free-to-play character. She has an insane buff for defensiveness. She's got an insane buff for healing. She's got an insane buff for attack. She's literally bonkersly broken. Like, she absolutely breaks the game to the point where she's basically necessary for everything. So that's a good thing and a bad thing, because 1, you get to get her for free, but 2, she's everywhere, and she's worth being everywhere because she's awesome looking. But anyway, if you want to get Weiwei, I'm on my final run right now to +5 her, but if you want to get her, you need 100 quests to start off with. I think it might be 200. I don't remember that long ago. And the way the quests work is they're only on hard difficulty, so you have to defeat the normal version of it first. And every 8 hours, you get 2 quests per zone, and 1 quest counts for 1 quest tally, so you have to do 100 of those, and you'll get your Weiwei. And once you get your Weiwei, you are literally like infinitely more powerful than you were before. So absolutely get that done ASAP. And this is kind of the lifeblood of the game. It's a super grindy game that you can play for basically as long as you want, and it's perfect for people like that, for people like me who like to just play 24/7. So I like to clear these every 8 hours and get all of them done. This one I specifically didn't because I was doing something else today, but I swear these are almost always cleared for me. Speaking of difficulty, this game has a really weird difficulty system where you just get hard walled really early. I think it's chapter 4 or 5 in normal, where you just get absolutely destroyed. Don't be discouraged. It's something that happens to basically everybody. And when that happens, I just switch the difficulty over to hard from normal and just go clear area 1 or so. I think I was grinding stage 1 and 2 for a while, and then once I got things unlocked, it was just smooth sailing from there. So that's what I would do, and just do tons of grinding. Just live in 1-1 or 2-1 for a while, just grinding all the XP in the world. And speaking of grinding, efficient grinding places, my favorite place to grind is actually 3-1. I run it with Arslan in the front, or Rev or Balder, and then 4 fodder in the back. Your fodder unfortunately do not get full XP if they die, which is why I have my Arslan in the front. And speaking of formation here, if we go to team, formations are really important to this game. A lot of people don't notice they're a thing, but if you click down on this icon here, you get all the different formations and you can level them up, and it's really expensive to level them up. The most important one, I think, is going to be Iron Wall. It's an insane one that combos with Ahanis that we talked about earlier. Kind of more of like a later game thing, but it's something you want to definitely get. It's my only one that's leveled up fully. because it starts to get really, really, really expensive to level it up, which is why I haven't brought charge any further. Whew. What else can we talk about here, folks? Specifically, the dungeons are once a day to get the good amount of gear. Like, you have one dungeon a day where you get like bonus rewards, and it's really all you need to do. So just work on these while you can. Once you start getting to stage 10, it gets really difficult, and then you'll probably have to look at one of my guides to maybe get an idea on that. But for a lot of these stages, somebody like Chloe Vaughn that I talked about earlier is just beautiful for it, because you can stun lock them until the literal end of time, and it's just amazing. She's so good for it. There's a couple other important things here, like dailies. It's pretty obvious, but I think you should know you should probably do your dailies. Most important one here is light your temple. This is something you need to do every single day, and you need to never miss this, because this is what fuels your 5-star fusions, your 5-star to 6-star promotions, I mean. So do not ever forget to do this. Even if you're like not wanting to grind for the day and you just don't want to open the game for 3 seconds and get your seeds, because you will super hardcore regret it if you don't. A couple other important things here is another Zodiac section. This is just a passive increase to your entire account. This is where basically all of my gold went early game. So I have all of these leveled up, and it's just straight up passive way to level up all your stats. Make sure you're doing these, especially the important ones like attack speed. Super duper important. Excuse me? This isn't maxed. How is this not maxed? Okay, that's embarrassing. That is super embarrassing. At least we get to demonstrate how this works. So you upgrade them and you get a chance to complete it, and then we can get some nature res here. I cannot believe I didn't have that. And then when you complete this whole Zodiac here, you will get all res plus 20 for this specific one. And it is extraordinarily expensive, like super duper duper extraordinarily expensive. Specifically, the important ones that you need to do ASAP are the pirate encounter raid ups. There's one at 2, which is the February Aquarius, and I think there's one at 9 or 7 July, which is another pirate raid encounter up. And pirates are the main source of your skill ups in this game. When you're grinding out in adventure here, you have a chance to spawn a pirate basically, and they give you a ton of gold, they give you a ton of XP, and they give you a ton of skill books. And skill book pages can be fused to books in the lab down here. If we go through to the legendary skill book, we can see I have 10 pages right now. I can put them in here, and I can craft a legend skill book, which is obviously used to skill up your legendaries, and it's the same with epic and rare and uncommon books too. And that's pretty much one of the things that you need to be a little careful what you upgrade, but in general, you get enough to upgrade everything over time. If you have a Weiwei and get Weiwei, you need to upgrade Weiwei like 100%. 100% skill 2 and skill 3. Absolutely worth upgrading here. When you go to upgrade your legendaries in general, you're going to want to upgrade skill 2s and skill 3s and leave skill 1 at level 1 until you really know what you're doing. Because you don't really need that auto attack damage too much IMO. So outside of that, I'm trying to think of what else to do here and what else to talk about. Specifically with buffs here as well, you get 3 buffs a day, so make sure you use these. What I do personally is I clear out all my quests and get all my quests done, and then I pop one of these and just grind 3-1 with it. Huge amount of increase there. You also get bonus ones from World 2, and it's much greater. It's like 3 to 4 times the rate at the daily one, depending on how you place in World Boss. And just a huge passive increase to your returns there. As for entry stuff like Aeons here, if you're running out, if you play like a madman like I do, the things I buy personally is I buy the 2 Aeons here, I buy the 20 Aeons here, I buy the 10 Valor here, and I buy the 300 pack of 1,000 Aeons, basically daily, depending on how much I want to play. And you can say 300 gems is a lot, but you get a ton back from grinding, so it definitely pays off, and it's definitely worth doing, especially when there's an event like this one going on, which is an event where the more you grind, the more rewards you get. and it's insane return. So during these events is when I go hard on grinding. So overall, I think that's about it for now. I think we talked about a lot about this game. I know I missed a lot and I kind of just rambled a bit, but sometimes rambling's good. You know, sometimes you just gotta ramble and get stuff out of there. If you have any further questions, just send me a PM on Discord. I'm always there to answer. I would love to see more people in this game. I'm really enjoying it. And that's gonna be it. So thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always, and I'll talk to y'all later. Have a wonderful day. Bye, everybody.